Hi guys! So your assignment today is to do that handout in front of you. On the white paper, I'm going to go over all those problems, so you should not get them any right. I'm going to write down the answers on the screen, and you're going to copy them down. The blue paper is the extra credit. So if you feel like you're getting it and you're done, then you can get extra credit on your test. I am collecting this for a grade, so don't think you can just sit down and do nothing. Please respect the sub. I am asking the person to collect it at the end of the day. So as soon as the period is over, I will collect it. I will be coming right after my meeting, and I will pick it up today. So do not think that you can not do anything, because I am making this a quiz grade. So your test is going to be at next class, and it'll be on these concepts. All you're going to need is a handout, your calculator, and something to write with. So, just to verify, you have your handout in front of you, you have a pencil in front of you, and you have a calculator in front of you. Do not come in the middle of the class and go, I don't got no pencil. If you don't have one, now's the time to go, hey, I need a pencil so I can write this down. Part 1, vocab words. Okay, number 1. What is a coefficient? Okay, we've heard this word so many times. So you're going to write the number in front of a variable. Okay, an example, 3x is going to be that 3, or negative 7x is going to be that negative 7. That is all you're going to put down there. Now, what's a variable? It's the letter, so we're just going to make an example. 5x, we're going to circle it, and we're going to write variable. That's it. When is a graph dotted? All right, it are these symbols. You got this inequality, which is less than. And when you see this, and that is greater than. Hold up. Now it's asking, when is a graph solid? It's the same thing, but now you got the line underneath. Okay, so when a graph dotted, you do not have that line underneath. When it is solid, you have that line underneath. Ask the substitute to pause it if you need to. When do we use NSolve? Only when we see an equal sign. Only when there is one letter. When do we use relation in our calculator? When we see less than or greater than or less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Okay, so I'm going to show you on the calculator on how to check your equations using NSolve. Now I know a lot of you've seen it, but let me bear with everyone. So the problem that we are going to be doing is 3x plus 4 equals 2x minus 8. So now I'm going to show you with your calculator. So I'm going to go press on my home, and you could follow the yellow. And I'm going to go to New Document. And then I'm going to go to Calculator. Now I go Menu, 3, 1. Now I'm going to type in that equation, which is 3x plus 4 equals 2x minus, I'm going to use the black, 8, comma, don't forget your comma, x. Enter. You should get negative 12. If you do not get that on your calculator, ask a friend or try to retype it. Okay, so we're going to practice on graphing on relation. Graphing on relation is when you have an inequality. So the examples that we're going to have are 3x is greater than or equal to 9. And the second one that we're going to do is 3x is greater than 7. On your paper, you're going to write the equations, and you're going to write down what it looks like. So, on your calculator, you can go to New Document. Don't worry about settings. So I'm going to go to New Document. I don't want to save anything, so I'm going to go to No. And now I'm going to go to Graphs. Now I'm going to go press Delete, and then I'm going to go to Relation. When I get to relation, I'm going to type in 3x, control equals 9. So I want to pick out that symbol. So when I press Control equals, wait, hold up. So I'm going to go to New Document. And in my new document, I'm going to go to Graphs now. Now you should see f1 of f of x is equal. If you don't see it, you're probably on Scratchpad. Get out of Scratchpad. To go to the page I am looking at, you're going to press the Home button, otherwise known as your On button. And you're going to go to New Document. And then you're going to click No for Save. And then click on Graphs. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm going to press the Delete button. And I'm going to go to Relation. And after I hit relation, I'm going to type in my equation, which is 3x. To get that symbol, you press Control equals, and I want to pick the one with the line underneath. So I'm just going to press down and click it, and now I'm going to have 9. So now you should have 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Now, before we graph it, do you think it's going to be solid or it's going to be dotted? Yeah, so there's a line underneath, so it's going to be solid, but let's double check. So when I look at my calculator, I can see that it is shaded to the right, and that I can also see that it is solid. So I'm going to look at on where it hits the x-axis. You don't look at this number. You look at the number where it hits the x-axis. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be x is going to be greater than or equal to 3. How do I know if there's a line underneath? Because it's solid. I'm going to do an example where it's not solid. So, I'm looking at my label, I'm double checking that it's a line, and I'm going to get a new graph. So I'm going to press Control, Dock. Now, after I press Control, Dock, I'm going to go to Graphs. And now I'm going to type in the new one. So the new one is 3x is greater than 7. So 3x Control equals, get that symbol, and I'm going to click 7. Okay, now when I graph it, it should not be solid because there's a line underneath. So, pressing play on my computer, I can see that I have a line. Now if you put your hand around it, okay, and you click on it, you should see that it is dotted. So, my answer for this, so when I am graphing on a relation, this is how you do it on a calculator. All right, problem number 1. For what value of x is 1/2 x minus 4 equal to 6x minus 12? Well, on this problem, we can do end solve, but first we're going to do it by hand. So we don't need to worry about writing the equation. We can't graph it on relation because it's an equal sign. So we're going to do end solve and do it by hand. So I'm going to write 1/2 x minus 4 equals 6x minus 12. On your paper, you need to write this down. So you're going to distribute. So 1/2 times x, I'm going to write it using the box method. That's what we're used to. So that's 1/2 x. And that's 1/2 times negative 4. So that gives me negative 2. Equals 6x minus 12. 1/2 x minus 2 equals 6x minus 12. I'm going to erase that 1/2, and I'm going to put 0.5. Now, I'm going to need to solve for x. So, in order for me to do that, I need to move x to the right. So this is a positive 0.5x. So we're going to subtract now. So now we get negative 2 is equal to 5.5x minus 12. How did I get 5.5? 6 minus 0.5 is 5.5. Lastly, I got to move my constant, which is 12. So now I have 10 is equal to 5.5x. And then I'm going to divide it by 5.5. And when I put that in my calculator, I get 20 over 11. So now we're going to check that on end solve. So to check it on end solve, we're going to go to New Document. We're going to get rid of our saved document. And we're going to go no. We're going to go to Calculator. And then we're going to type in menu 3, 1. And now we're going to do control division. So control division gives you your fraction. So now I'm going to type in 1. And then I'm going to put that 2 underneath. and I'm keep writing the problem. So I'm going to have x minus 4, go to the right, equals 6x minus 12, comma x. Don't forget. Now, notice I put minus. I'm using the black. I'm not using the negative button. So when you're typing x minus 4, make sure you're using the black button, not the white button. So continuing the process. Now when I press enter on my calculator, I'm going to get 1.81818. Now on the answers that we came up with gave us a fraction. So I'm going to show you how to convert it to a fraction. So with your calculator, you're going to press menu, 2, and then 2. We are going to practice again on Wednesday when I come back. So in order for us to do that, I'm going to show you on the calculator. So when I'm pressing menu, then 2, and then 2. Now you see the prox fraction. That's what we want. So as we keep going, we're going to see that it's 20 over 11, and that's what we wanted. Solve for m when g is equal to 2 pi m. Okay, so a lot of times you guys want to multiply. I'm going to scratch this out, and I'm going to write it the way it looks like on your paper. So you're going to write 2 pi m. Okay, we have two variables. We cannot end solve. We cannot graph it on relation because we do not have an inequality. So what we need to do is that we need to write the equation, and we need to do it by hand. So make sure you're circling this. So there is no plus sign, there is no minus sign. So that means that they're being multiplied. Since they're being multiplied, our goal is to get m by itself. In order for us to get m by itself, I need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi. I am not multiplying 2 times 3.14. I'm just writing 2 pi. That cancels on the right. So now I have g over 2 pi equals m. And that's my final answer. Okay. The area of a rectangle is 4m plus 6. So I want you to circle the word area, and I want you to point it to 4m plus 6. The width of a rectangle is 12, and the length is m minus 4. So they want us to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw a box. All right, so in this rectangle, the width is 12, and the length is m minus 4. They also tell us that the area is 4m plus 6. So I'm going to write area is equal to 4m plus 6. So that's, so my formula is length times width equals area. So length times width, we're going to put 12 times m minus 4 is equal to our area, which is 4m plus 6. And I'm going to show you how to solve this using EndSolve. So with EndSolve here, I'm going to go to New Document, and I'm not going to save our previous one. Got a calculator, and then I'm going to click Menu 3, 1, and we're going to type in our equation. So our equation was 12. So it's going to be 12 times m minus 4 is equal to 4m plus 6. Now I'm using m, so I need to do comma m, and now I get my answer. So make sure if you're using that variable, you got to use comma m, and we're going to press enter, and I get 6.75. In this problem, it's not asking for m, it's asking for the length. Well, the length is m minus 4. So I'm going to take my value, 6.75, and I'm going to subtract 4. So on your calculator, you're going to do 6.75 minus 4. And you should get 2.75. That's going to be your answer. The cost for a publisher to print a book is modeled by the equation C is equal to 2m plus 3600, where m is the number of books printed. Write an equation that could be used to determine B, the number of books printed based on the total cost. Blah, 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 blah. Let's circle what's important. So, We can't do end solve because we got M and we got C, so we cannot do end solve. We cannot graph it on relation because we don't have an inequality. So we're going to write the equation and we're going to do it by hand. Now, the cost for a publisher is modeled by. That just means we're going to use this equation. C equals 2M plus 3,600. M is the number of books. That's all we need to worry about. We want our right equation to be used to determine M. So you're going to cross out that B and you're going to put M. Now, in order for me to solve for M, I need to move this 3,600 to the left. Well, that's a positive 3,600, so now I'm going to subtract. What I do on the right, I do on the left. C cannot combine with that one, so I'm going to write C minus 3,600 is equal to 2M. Hold up, I'm not done. I still got this 2 in front of me. How am I going to move it to the other side? Don't say subtraction. Don't say addition. We are multiplying 2 times n, so we're going to divide each of them. Okay? So C cannot be divided by 2, so you're just going to leave it like that. On your calculator, calculate 3,600 divided by 2. Well, that gives you about 1,800. So you're going to write 1,800 is equal to M. I know this looks weird, but we're going to have a little bit more practice before your test on Wednesday, right before. Write the inequality that describes all the solutions for negative 8 times 1/4 x plus 2, which is greater than 5x. Okay, can we end solve this? No. Do we need to write the equation? No. Can we graph it on relation? Let's do it. So, on your calculator, you're going to go to Home. You're going to go to New Document. We don't want to save that one. And we're going to go to Graphs. Now I'm going to press Delete. And now I'm going to go to Relation. After I hit Relation, I'm now going to type in the problem. So I have negative 8 parentheses. Now in order for me to get the fraction, you're going to press Control Division if you haven't figured that out yet. So now you're going to put 1/4 and then fill it out the rest of the problem. So with the parentheses and everything like that. So we have 1/4 x plus 2. Control equals gives us our symbol. And then we're going to put the number 5. Now we're going to press X, and now we're going to press Enter. We don't care about this information. We care where it hits here. So it hits there about negative 2. So we're going to put negative 2. We're going to put X. Now, to double check if we put a line underneath, you're going to put your cursor over it. So this one is dotted. Another way to look at it is that our original problem did not have a line. So our original problem was 8 times 1/4 x plus 2 is greater than 5x. This did not have a line, so this is not going to have a line. Now, this is now to the left, so now you're going to have it face this way. And that's going to be your final answer. Okay, so for number 6, we're going to solve for y using the equation. So since there is more than one variable, we cannot end solve. Since there is no inequality, we cannot do this by relation. So we're going to write the equation, and we're going to do it by hand. So I'm going to write ax plus by is equal to c. My goal is to get y by itself. So I'm going to make my wall. I want to move ax to the right. Well, this is a positive ax. How do I know that? Because I don't have a negative sign next to it. So to move that positive ax, I'm going to subtract it on both sides. When I do that, it is canceled on the left. Now I have by equals c minus ax. I still want to get y by itself, so I need to get rid of b. So do not say subtraction, do not say addition. You're going to divide 3 times. So my answer is y is equal to c over b minus ax over b. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with number 7, but now we're going to use numbers. So I'm going to write 8x minus 5y is equal to 12. Since it has multiple variables, we cannot do end solve. And since it does not have an inequality, we cannot do it on relation. So we're going to do it by writing the equation and doing it by hand. So I'm going to move 8x to the right. That's a positive 8, so I'm going to subtract 8x. What I do on the left, I'm going to do on the right. So now this goes away. So now I have negative 5y is equal to negative 8x. What kind of 12? Well, that's positive 12. How do I know that? Because I don't have a negative sign. Now my last step is to get rid of my negative 5. That is a coefficient. So in order to get rid of a coefficient, I'm going to divide by negative 5 3 times. So now I have y is equal to 8 over 5x minus 12 over 5. It becomes minus because I have a positive divided by a negative number, so that is how I get negative 12 over 5. It becomes positive 8 over 5 because negative 8 divided by negative 5 is positive. Number 8. If fx plus 3 represents the number of goals scored at Shayla's volleyball game, and 7 plus x represents the number of goals scored at Michelle's volleyball game, what value of x makes Shayla's and Michelle's have an equal amount of goals scored? So what's important is the 5x plus 3, the 7 plus x. If you reread the question, it says, what value of x makes Shayla and Michelle have an equal amount of goals scored? Well, an equal amount literally means the equal sign. So we know we want them to be equal. So I'm going to write 5x plus 3 is equal to 7 plus x. Now I'm just going to solve. So I'm going to move 1x to the left. That's a positive 1x, so I'm going to subtract 1x. And I'm going to do it on the left. So now I have 4x plus 3 is equal to 7. Now I need to move 3 to the right, so subtract 3. So now I have 4x is equal to 4. Lastly, in order for me to get rid of this 4, I need to divide. So I'm going to I have 4x equals 4. I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. So x equals 1. Now I'm just going to show you how to do it on end solve to double check your answers. So, like normal, you go to new document. I don't want to save. Calculator, menu, 3-1. And we're going to type the equation, 5x plus 3 equals 7 plus x. I'm going to put comma x and then enter. So I get 1. So the amount of goals is 1. Solve for 10x minus 13y equals to 18. Okay, we're back to that one. So we have a positive 10x minus a 13y is equal to 18. I have a positive 10. What's the opposite of a positive 10? I'm going to subtract it. What I do on the left, I'm going to do on the right. These cancel. So now I'm going to bring down negative 13y. I'm going to write equals. I'm going to put negative 10x first, and I'm going to write plus 18. Lastly, I have a coefficient of negative 13. I'm going to divide each item by negative 13. Okay, I divide it because negative 13 is a coefficient, so that means you divide. This cancels. So now I have y is equal to a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So this is your answer. Okay, so the last problem is the average weight of 6 kindergartners is 65 pounds. 4 of the weights are 40.8, 43.2, 37.1, and 41.0. Given the equation shown, find the weight of the 5th freshman. Round to nearest 10th. So I crossed it out already in your paper, but I'm going to cross it out here. I should get equals 65 pounds. And since we have one variable, I'm going to show you how to do this on end solve. So when you go to calculator, you're going to type in menu 3-1, and now you're going to press control division, and we're going to type in all those numbers. So you have 40.8 plus 43.2 plus 37.1 plus 41 plus x all over 5 equals 65. Now, I forgot to put comma x, so I'm going to go back, comma x, and my answer is going to be 162.9. Okay, so I went over the 10. Now you're going to do the blue paper on your own. I've already explained a majority of them. And in that blue paper, you're going to do the problems as best as you can. Every problem that you get right is going to count for a grade. Try your best. I will see you guys Wednesday. Or Thursday if you're my A day.